Now that we've gotten through a lot of the tough stuff, we get to do a lot of the fun stuff. We are finally at the stage to put some color on these walls. It's not a big space, so it's not gonna take me a ton of time. When you do that layer after layer after layer, it creates such a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I'm trying not to be as impulsive with my fear this time around. I have made a massive error. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are barreling forward with this entryway makeover because I am so excited. Now that we've gotten through a lot of the tough stuff, we get to do a lot of the fun stuff now. If you watched the last video, we took our time really making sure we did this right. This area needed some tough love, some work. We stripped down all of the doors, we sanded everything down, we had to clean down the walls. This space needed some attention, and I'm so glad we are finally tackling it. If it gets anywhere close to the idea in my head, it's going to be a beautiful space and finally match the energy of the living room and the dining room that we've put so much love and time into. Finally, this entryway is going to match the rest of the apartment. Some eagle-eyed viewers out there commented that it wasn't necessarily that the quality of paint was bad, even though the quality of paint is pretty bad that they used in this apartment. The landlord special painting over everything. It was more so the fact that they didn't do the right prep when they were adding the latex paint on top. It clearly was an oil-based paint underneath, so to spray everything down with a latex paint over top is clearly why I was able to just start pulling away paint easily, and I've been able to do this all over the apartment. It was very clear that they basically just covered the floors and covered the windows and then basically just sprayed everything down. Slowly but surely, we have been tackling every little space in this apartment, undoing the terrible, terrible paint job that they clearly did before I moved in here. And I think actually this is the last big space. I think I've basically undone every other wall in this apartment at some point, but this is the last big spot that I need to do. Thank the Lord, because I hate stripping paint. So we are gonna move forward. I need to pick up the lime wash from Portola Paints. I need to go to the hardware store and pick up a couple little odds and ends. And we're gonna jump straight into getting this space primed and ready to lime wash this week. So let's do it. Let's make this fast. That's all. All right, that was quick. I just called Portola Paints. I received a confirmation email that they got the order, but I haven't received an email that said it was ready, and it usually only takes like 2 hours at the most. They said it doesn't look like it's ready, but it's something that could be done really quickly, so I can head up and grab those paints real quick. So that's what we're gonna do, because I gotta move on. One thing that I have learned specifically doing multiple lime wash projects now is that not all lime wash paint is exactly the same. So I always recommend following the instructions of whatever brand you are using, because I learned that the hard way in the last project. There are lots of different types of undercoats and primers for lime wash. I generally find that it has been best, in my opinion, just to go with whatever brand lime wash you're using, stick with their primer, just keep it consistent. So that way you have the best coverage no matter what you're doing. So I picked up Portola Paints. This is their lime-proof undercoat. I'm gonna use this as a primer. I'll probably apply a thin coat, sand it down a little bit, and then I'll probably do another one. Just overkill. It's not a big space, so it's not gonna take me a ton of time, but I want the lime wash to come out perfect. So we're gonna get to using this as a primer, and then we can start the lime wash. So it obviously looks a mess again, but when you feel it, you can feel that this primer has like a rough, coarse texture to it. And I think that's really just to like help grip the lime wash to the wall. I do want to do a little bit of sanding just to kind of try to get some of the grain out of the wood doors. I wasn't going to originally put the primer on the trim because the trim is going to be painted. The trim is not going to be lime washed. However, it didn't really make sense for me to just get a completely different primer just to do the trims. It just seems like a waste of time. So I just went ahead and primed everything. I know a lot of you are probably telling me, why didn't you take this one off the door? Like you're gonna paint it shut. I'm not painting it shut. There's a pretty good gap between the trim and the door, so it's not painted shut. I just don't have the space to take both doors off and put them somewhere and paint and have it not destroy another part of the apartment. I wish I had more space. I wish I had outdoor space to do this. I just don't. So for right now, this is staying on the hinge. Obviously, when I do the edges and stuff like that, I will get that off, but I'm probably will have this one done first and then I can transfer the... Anyway, that's why I'm doing that. I'm sure people are being like, why is he painting the door on the hinges? I just don't have space. I don't have space. I don't think I need to do a heavy second coat, honestly, because it's a primer. I just want to make sure that I don't have any grain showing through when I do the lime wash, because the lime wash is really light. The walls are feeling actually pretty good. We're on a roll. We are finally at the stage to put some color on these walls. It feels like we've taken ages to get to this place, but like I said, I want to do it right. I probably didn't need to do that second coat of primer. It may have been a little bit of overkill, but I would rather do more than less. I really don't want the grain of the wood on the doors to come through, and because the lime wash is such a thin finish, it really picks up any kind of texture that you are painting on, and I did not want that to happen. So it may have been overkill, but I'm glad we did it. Let's discuss lime wash, because I've done lime wash a couple times from different companies on this channel. The first company that I used was Color Atelier that I did in the bedroom. I did a darker green color. And one of the reasons why I talk about different companies and different styles of lime wash is that I have learned the hard way that not all lime wash is equal. So trust the brand that you are using. Trust the technique that they tell you to use with their product. When I did Color Atelier in the bedroom, they told me to do what they called a cloud technique. We're making different spots on the wall and really spreading that paint out and creating these cloud formations and connecting these clouds. And when you do that layer after layer after layer, it creates such a beautiful, beautiful pattern. Now in the dining room, it was the first time I used Portola paints, and I loved how the bedroom turned out so much that I was like, I am just going to do that. That's not how Portola paints wants you to use their product. The technique that they use in their videos is more of just a full coverage, starting at a spot and using the X technique, but just covering the whole thing. And when you do that and build up over and over and over, it creates the texture that they want from their product. Now, if you go back and watch the video of me in the dining room, I tried the cloud technique at first and was getting very frustrated that it wasn't coming together and that I wasn't getting the formations that I wanted out of it. So I switched to their technique and voila, it suddenly worked. Trust the brand that you are using and the technique they tell you to follow. They know their product best. Follow their technique. So we will be doing a full coverage. I learned my lesson. I really love how my dining room came out with the Portola paint. With lime wash paint, you get more variation and more texture from a darker color. Because I'm going with a lighter, sandier color that I did in the dining room, I did 2 colors because I really wanted those highs and lows to come through. I'm going to be doing the same process that I did in the dining room with the 2 tones because I want the entryway to match the dining room, and so I don't want to mess with anything. I want to stick with what I did before because I want it to be cohesive. So the 2 colors that I used for the lime wash were the El Matador, which is a sandy, a little bit darker, and the La Conchita, which is also sandy, just lighter. I'm gonna start with the lighter one, do full coverage of that, wait for that to dry, and then we're gonna do the El Matador. I do have a little bit of taping off that I need to do just on like the ceiling and stuff, just so I don't get any excess anywhere, but we're ready to go. Sweaty. So I'm trying not to be as impulsive with my fear this time around because I remember specifically last couple times I was like, oh gosh, this looks terrible. And it does look terrible right now. But lime wash is a trust the process kind of thing. You have to build up coats until you get the desired effect, and you just kind of have to keep building it up. It's a first coat. I am a little worried. Some spots are going on a little bit darker here. I'm worried that maybe I just didn't hit the primer as good as I thought I did. It was a white primer on a white wall, so I might have missed spots. I'm hopeful that it'll go down a little bit. We'll see. We're gonna let it dry first. Lime wash goes on darker and dries a lot lighter. Also, some of the wood grain is still coming through. I kind of figured it would, because if I really wanted to get rid of it, I probably needed to like skim coat it and then sand it down. Again, I'm gonna wait till everything dries before I make a rash decision. I love the way the color is looking. The finish, hopefully I only need a couple more layers. It dries pretty quickly. I'm still worried about those areas around the edges that just didn't get primed quite as well. It's still poking through. I'm hoping the layers will help cover that a little bit more. It's just little sections down like around like the bottom here where you can see like harder lines. So we're gonna do a couple more coats and then we will reassess. Fingers crossed that that all corrects itself, because right now there are some streaky spots, there are some splotchy spots, but I'm hoping that all gets fixed with a couple more around. The lighter color first, let that dry, then we'll do another El Matador, back and forth, see where we're at. Massive error. And I knew it too. The irony is, at the start of this project, I thought I had over-prepped the doors by doing multiple coats of primer. I probably didn't need to do that second coat of primer. It may have been a little bit of overkill, and in reality, I had under-prepped the walls. Obviously, after that first coat, I saw that my primer wasn't even on the walls, and I thought that if I had just done more and more coats, that would eventually even out. And it's a lime wash, not a paint. So it has not evened out, and it looks splotchy on these walls. The doors are looking great. The only way to fix this problem now is to prime the walls and start anew, which sucks, because it's a lot of wasted paint, it's a lot of wasted time, but I want this to look right, and the only way to get it to look right is to reprime. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm starting early today because I am going to bang these coats out. I'm going to cover the doors so I make sure I don't get any splatter, any primer on the doors, and hopefully get the layers of paint on the wall back up to where the doors are, and then everything will look even. Fingers crossed. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I made this dumb of an error. It needs to be fixed, so let's fix it. That is what lime wash should look like. Finally. Yesterday was a marathon, but I'm happy with where we're at. I was a little nervous towards the end of the night after I'd done like 3 coats of primer and I think 5 coats of the lime wash by that point. Once I was taking off the paper from the doors, I was like, oh gosh, I hope the color matches the doors, just because we're doing a 2-tone thing. I feel pretty good. We're pretty close. The one thing that is a little off is by the end of the night, I was going on thick because I was just so exhausted and my arm was starting to cramp. I was going on really thick with the paint, and it's a lime wash. You can't do that. So it is splotchy right now, but that is fixable. So today, plan really is just to, I'm gonna use a really wet edge. I'm basically gonna spray water on the wall as I'm doing the lime wash, just to do really, really, really thin coats. And hopefully that'll just break out some of the like splotchiness of it and blend it and smooth it out a little bit. I'm hoping 2 times is gonna be enough just to soften some of those edges, because I'm really, really, really loving the color. Even though we had to spend an entire day redoing it, I'm really glad I did redo it. Now I'm not having that problem with the primer underneath. We are on the right track. No more coats after today. And then I need to tackle the trim. Finally seeing this thing come together. This project should not have taken this long. I am so happy with where it's at and how it's looking right now. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. It just, we had to take the long route to get there. This is supposed to be one of the easier projects in this whole makeover. Whatever, we're there now. I just went to the hardware store to pick up the paint for the trim. I got the same paint that I used for the trim in the dining room. I was gonna get some hardware too for the doors to rehang, and the hardware store was completely out of all of door hardware. Absolutely anything that I would want. Every size, every color, they just didn't have anything. So I got a couple temporary hinges just so we can get it up there and see kind of what it's gonna look like, but I'm gonna have to special order all of that hardware, which is fine because we still have a ways to go on this makeover. Anyway, we're gonna get back and get this trim painted. I also want to add that flexible trim and get that painted to the door so that hopefully this stage of the project will be done. guys. This was a struggle, to be sure. I did not expect to have the problems that I did have. And honestly, I could have cut a lot of it out, but you're on this journey with me and the struggle is real. I am not a professional by any stretch of the imagination. I am learning with each DIY. This is my third time doing lime wash and I still feel like I am learning so much every time I do it. I love the effect when I finally get there, but it has been a struggle. I'm really, really happy with where we're at. Obviously, there's a lot more to be done with this whole entryway makeover. I have a big project coming up that I cannot wait to share with you that's gonna really, really transform this space. A lot of you are probably asking, Justin, why did you only do 2 of the 3 walls? And that is because, much to some of your dismay, I am still keeping the moss wall. Some of you definitely let me know that you did not like it. That's fair. I created this moss wall when I was thinking about this whole space. So really, this moss wall was designed with this makeover in mind years ago, and I just never continued. So I agree. I think the moss wall has just really stuck out like a sore thumb, and I plan on actually updating it and doing some more stuff to make it a little bit more full. But I really want this space, like I've said before, to act as like an overture to the apartment. I want little things taken from each space, and one of the big characteristics of my apartment, one of the main things you think of when you think of my apartment, are my plants. Everywhere, my kitchen, my living room, my bedroom. So it doesn't make sense not to have some kind of greenery in here, and it's a tight space. And a moss wall was just the best solution for it because it does not take up a ton of space, but it adds a huge impact. I do agree something needs to be done to make it feel a little bit more organic, a little bit more cohesive, but I already think that it looks better with this lime wash rather than just sitting against all of that stark white paint that it was just sitting on. And I think once I finish the whole makeover, hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense to you. Guys, thanks for coming on this journey with me. There were a lot of highs and lows to this one, and I really appreciate you being here. If you are not subscribed to the channel, do so you can see this entire makeover, and it is entering into my favorite season, fall, going into the holidays. I have so much coming up. I cannot wait to share with you guys. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.